I'm just minimizing that. I'm going to do it with Internet Explorer. And what we need to do to launch it, boy, I have a lot of stuff open. I'm going to go to the file, actually not to there, to the file manager. You need this zoomed. We're going to go to local disk C, programs, files, Internet Explorer. We want IE, I think that's the executable there. We want to right click on it and run as administrator. Otherwise you won't be able to look at all of this.
IE Explorer?
Yeah, IE Explorer.
Okay.
We should probably reveal it's basically IExplore.exe, right? The actual executable.
Mm-hmm.
This is the only way to get Internet Explorer to run as administrator. And it won't work if you don't run as an administrator. Why do they make everything be administrator to run it? I don't know. Now, it might be easier with Chrome. I mean, you might be able to just right click on Chrome in the app stuff and get it. So, and Chrome should work. But anyway, I'll run this as administrator. And yes to that. And the address on this should Internet Explorer ever come up. Or I have a billion things open, so that's probably part of it. So we're up as administrator. I wonder if it's just not going to. No, it's just. There it goes. Okay. No, I set Chrome as my default. Go away. I'm not interested. But I want to use Internet Explorer right now. Go away. Okay. I don't have no idea what that is doing. Yeah, I know, but I don't know where that came from.
Another tab there.
Oh, another tab.
Yeah, it's there.
Yeah, well, let's just change it here. Let's do, we should be able to do HTTP localhost. And it should be localhost reports. Oh, don't go. I didn't want stupid Bing.
I know, but I have.
Come on. I don't know, because Internet Explorer sucks. It should go. It should go to localhost reports. But let's try Steve some reports. Oh, don't do this now. Anybody get something? Yeah, what did you do? I mean, you can go to report server, but you shouldn't have to do this. Still not going. What did you do to get this? That's where you want to go. That's what it should look like. Reports. Isn't that what I did? Did you do localhost?
Yeah.
Why did yours work? So I'm going to do localhost. I'm going to do a capital report, so that really shouldn't matter. I'm still not finding it.
Mine was a report server. Oh, got it. Yeah, I did reports underscore and then the name of the server.
Oh, reports underscore?
Oh, underscore.
No, it just went away.
No, it's spinning.
Oh,
It's weird.
there it is. Yay. Thank you. It makes sense, I guess. You have to specify the server. So it's underscore whatever your server name. And we finally got here. That was a lot of messing around, which I never had to do before, but it occurs to me I've probably never used a named instance before for doing this. So if you open up this folder, it will show your two reports. So if we want to look like total grants by service, which was a more interesting report, it will load it. And there's our report. Now, this software, you might have noticed that there were some SharePoint paths and things. These report services are really meant to integrate really well with SharePoint. Right? So you work with your data SQL Server reports and you share them in SharePoint. So, and this is kind of a SharePoint looking environment, but this isn't the full SharePoint. It's just the reporting services thing. Everybody kind of get there? And you know, if we want to look at employee information, we can look at that. Now, there's a couple of other things up here, like if we go back another level, there you can look at your data sources. See, there's Community Assist data source. And you can create a new data source at this point. You can create a new folder. You can look at the folder settings, you know, basically who created it, when, you know, etc. Under security, it's built-in administrators, content management. I think you could modify the security on these to some extent. The other thing you can do, and this is more for what this part 2 of this is about, is do a report builder. And it's going to ask, it's going to actually install some stuff. So it's going to ask if you want to run this, and it will make a report builder. And you can actually build all these reports online, which is, as I said, what they usually do here when they want people to make reports. They just have them install this and build their reports online. I think actually I'm just going to show you that it exists right now, and we'll spend some time on that next time. But today it would be good to do. So notice it looks similar. There's a new report, new data set. You can open a saved report. You could, like if you open a saved report, you can open one of the reports that you've made in the other service and modify it a little bit here.
This is through the management studio?
This is through the web. It's a web app. And there are, like if you want to go to blank report, you know, basically it gives you some folders and it gives you a thing. It's not bad. It's very similar to, it's similar as you can with the web app to the reporting services in the Visual Studio.
That's just when you click the folder, you get to it?
So the way you get to that, and again, this is more for, is report builder.
Okay.
And it has to install. It only should actually, once it installs, it should stay installed. You know, but and you can upload files to here. You can look, you know, there's different views. So if I go, if I like look at the reports here, the details view just gives you a little bit more information about them. You can also, like, you could click on one of them. And I think you could do things like, yeah, delete it or move it. You know, so those are, you know, if you don't have something selected, those are grayed out. But you have to be an administrator to get here, which is strange.
So when you update data in SQL Server, the reports update?
The reports update if the data in the SQL Server, they are live. So because they're based on a live query. So if the data in the server changes, the report will change also.
Okay.
So you can kind of changes here for the all the report too, and it does affecting it for this one.
Right, I believe if we did like
Visual Studio.
report servers, so I'm going to open up the report server. Let's see if I can open up like employee information. Open a saved report, community assist reports, employee information, open. And there it is, and we can edit it at this point.
And then affecting in the server too, so you do it because it's linked.
Yeah, well, so for the most part, these reports are just summarizing information from the server.
Right.
So they won't change the server.
Okay, just only here.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is where they're stored.
So as long as you generate at least one report, you put it into this web app, you can use the web app to show you the report.
Right, right. And you don't even have to generate one report. You should be able to get here.
Oh, you can just build one.
Yeah, and you can just build them here. And you, again, we deployed the data source. You can do a new data source. You can create your own folder directories, you know, things like
The
that.
next one.
So these are both under Community Assist, if I go back one more level. But so if I wanted to do Metro apps, I could create a, not there, but a new folder. Call it Metro Alt Reports. Get rid of the new folder. And you could do OK, and then notice it's over here. And you could, inside of here, do a report builder and build a report and save it in there. And as I said, the reports one, you know, might notice there's two reports assignment. So reports one is to build them in here and deploy them. Reports two is to use the web designer, so you have a few experience of both. There are, although they might consider them kind of tedious jobs, but there are jobs related to just building reports with these tools. And even if it's not your job, it's a thing that, you know, you might have to do in relation to a job. You know, that's, and it's kind of neat. I mean, it's not horribly hard. What can be horribly hard, and this is has nothing to do with the tool set, it's just figuring out what the best reports are and what the best charts are to display that data. So it's basically analyzing the information to figure out the displays that make the most sense. That's actually the hard part. The tools aren't that hard, although they, you know, they can get pretty detailed. You can do more with these reports, and I'm not going there because we don't have everything installed that we would need, but you can make them live. So you can incorporate live pivot tables, you know, so that you can create a report where you can change the values and it will recalculate automatically. So you can do that. You can change, I mean, the drill down thing you can do. We might try to do that with some of the data.
What tools do we need to do that?
You have to install Office, the Office tools for Visual Studio. It's not a terribly hard, I mean, it's just another install. Because it uses essentially an online Excel to do that.
I know that I think that's a real business application.
It is. I'm not sure. It's not something I know how to use a lot, but you're welcome to do it. What I'm not sure of, particularly in the web part of this, I'd have to look to see exactly how you install the Office tools. You might need to have Office installed underneath too. You know what I mean? You might need to have Office on the underlying machine as well as in the Visual Studio tools. But there's a whole suite of tools in Visual Studio for manipulating Office.
That's cool, and maybe you should try this.
Yeah, there are ways. I mean, I consider that kind of advanced, but it is there.
That's awesome. Yeah, all three.
You can do it with procedure. Actually, that's something I should show you. Okay, we made a procedure, right? So let's go back. Let's make one more report here.
Why, with the procedure?
Yeah, and I'm going to add a new report. We'll do the wizard because it'll be faster. We'll use the Community Assist data source. Does anybody remember what the procedure? So it's the same thing, but we choose the service, right? USP. Now I'm curious if I need to execute it. I think there's a way. Because it would need I want it as a parameter. So the execute is not supported there. I've done a parameter. I did it at home. How did I do it? So I want to cancel this. What if I just do the USP?
I think it worked for me to do it just EXCC and then go through with that.
Right, but I'm wondering if it will give us a, oh, food needs to be in quotes.
And then at the beginning EX.
Oh yeah, I did, got it. Yes, okay. But is it going to give me anything? Because what I want it to be is a parameter.
You have to open write a sheet. Is the write a sheet, not position. Have to see how many people open.
It uses service name in the thing, right? So let's do service name.
By year. 2012. There will be these and these, and then time by write a sheet. So, for example,
Just, you know, what's this? Why you just do that?
it's just you have to know, like for example, year 2013, right?
Do we want to get the values from a query? Let's do.
So let's see, go to see 2013.
Possible performance.
Like for example, this number.
Did I name this? So this just has data source,
To
data set one.
this one means it's a new year, 2013. So 2013 from 136 write a sheet. I have to use this one because it's 2013. Certain fair change. You cannot just use this one. You know, This one. Yes, but there will be 2012 too. So you have to match the SMMP, the writer sheet, and the year, and then highlight it. Because there will be 2014 too.
I'm curious.
2014, so you have to match the SMMP.
I'm going to try to preview this.
And to find how many writer sheets,
Food,
and then the
but that's only the one. It's not giving me the actual. I forget. Did I say 3 or 4?
For each of you, their report for today.
Oh. Oh, is that what you're doing right now? At
first, I
Oh, just so you know. Yeah, okay, so go.
Why is it not getting the?
Yeah.
So it's not giving me the. Did I get rid of the parameter? Or I'm on the wrong report?
Accounted employees by positions.
But only food is coming up.
But the other.
Why is it not giving me the whole list of parameters? What if I did nothing in the thing? Yeah, so let's look at the data source. That's not it. So the data sets. If I don't do food, does it give me the parameter automatically? I wonder, I know, oh, stored procedure. Okay, so I probably didn't need to build a parameter for it because it was just stored procedure. Yeah, so let's delete this parameter.
This putting it is just picking 1 year. Yeah.
Okay, so let's kill it. I'm going to kill the report again. Yeah, delete. And then I'm going to build it again. So I'm going to do a new report. So add new report. Next. That's fine. Next. Now, how did I get it before? It showed me the.
Yeah. Super easy.
Just a few minutes ago, I had that.
They don't let you get past this without a screen.
What was the name of the thing again? There was a way. If I do EXE, see. I don't want to put food there though, because that's what it limited it to. What?
You did ESE.
Oh, EXEC. Where did I see the,
It was once you'd already created it.
You put the parameter with the ad sign.
what?
I put in ad service name.
Oh, you know what? That probably will work. Let's see if that, oh, it's report 1.
Did you go up?
So I did a at, I will go through this again just to show. I was just sort of trying to make sure that it worked. Should have a parameter here. Yes. So if I did child care,
Oh,
view report, and it worked, except I got, yeah, that's fine.
okay, so what?
Okay.
For the query, so EXEC.
So, do you want me to do that all again?
Yes.
It is on the video, but I'll do it all again. Let's, could do the same report. Did we have any other stored procedures? Was that the only one?
Yeah, donation and test procedure.
And new donation was,
Stored procedure.
although that's a stored procedure for inserting it. Isn't that from previous class?
Pie charts with, or charts with the.
Well, what was, so new donation, yeah, that's gonna import. You should be able to do a pie chart. Although, what would you be pie charting?
I mean, not pie, like just a chart in general.
Oh, you should be able to. All right, so I'll go through this again
Okay.
a little bit more slowly, because that time I was just sort of trying to see if it worked. So I think, like if I did,
They don't let me do, they don't let me add a chart.
oh, okay, because of the parameter.
Maybe.
So I'm going to go back. So I'm going to delete this, and the main, what?
No.
No, it's working. I would just wonder, you wanted to do it again.
Yes.
So I thought I would delete it before doing it again.
Show us property, so at least we get an idea. Oh, but it doesn't show query?
Well, what I'll do is I'll run it all again. I'll just delete it and run it again. So the trick is, and it was Sarah that showed, what is basically, so I'm going to do a new report. And you could do this from scratch, or you could do it from, it might actually be easier from scratch than from the wizard. So I'm going to do next, community assist. Actually, the other thing I might do is, well, no, that's it. Hasn't named it yet. The query string is just exec, USP, name of this, total grants by service. Okay, and then instead of putting a value here, do at service name. That was the name of it, right? I'm not sure if it has to match the actual.
I added that with capitalization.
You did? What did I capital? How did I capitalize it? Wrong one. Service name with the lower S. There are all sorts of reasons to be consistent. So I'm just going to move all of these. Actually, we could do maybe group and do these down here just to make the report slightly more interesting.
So, where did you look up for like the exact same one you do?
Oh, it's in the Management Studio under Programmability. This is where you name it.
Yeah.
I call this service totals parameterized, but you could call it whatever. So what happens is that if I run this in the preview, the first thing it gives me is the service name. I need to enter the service name. So if I do rent and then view report.
Can you search for more than like rent and childcare?
That's a good question. No.
What about a comma?
What? Oh, but childcare is.
No, it's common.
I said a comma, maybe.
One kind of service.
Yeah, it only will do one at a time. That's actually, though, a good question. You could have written the procedure to accept multiples. So what? I don't remember what all of the others are. There's food.
They don't like it. I don't
We
know
had
why.
a avoided query for parameters. Could you possibly put in a drop down box,
You know, I wonder.
or would that require?
I don't know. Let's see if we can do. So this is the group. It has a parameter. I'm going to look at the parameter properties. Name, service name. It's text. Available values. Get values from a query.
Oh, around multiple value.
Oh, yeah. Where did it?
On general.
It's on general.
Okay, mine don't like it either.
Let's try clicking on that.
Oh, okay.
Available values. Let's see if we can do service and service. Default values. Well, let's just go without a default. I have no idea what I just did, but let's look at it. Preview. It occurred. So if I undo that, it still fails.
Easy.
So I could write some values.
No, mine is it up. I exactly copied it.
Maybe because I did it with the wizard, but it's not letting me do. What are some of, there's food, rent. There might be dental.
I did not service so exactly same.
Yeah.
But it's.
It would be nice to get a drop-down list there. And I wonder if we built it on the,
Do you ever get each one of it?
in the toolbox. Let's go back to the design. Does it have a drop-down box? Text box? It's weird that it doesn't actually have. the parameter box in here. I'm also curious. Now, most of the code here, notice, is also XML. I did view code. Though I know there are ways to make these with ASP. So I'm not sure. I mean, you guys are free to play with these as much as you want, if you can figure out how to do the drop-down box. It may be if we made it from scratch and made the parameter from scratch that it might work. I might rename it at the top, but service total is parameterized. And again, once you've done, if you've added something here, you would just have to, this isn't very pretty, but you, when you're done, you could deploy it again. And once the path is in there, it should be fine. And if I go back to Internet Explorer and go back home and Community Assist Reports, notice that I pretty quickly put total grants by service there. And that's the wrong one. Total service totals parameterized. And in here, see how it puts the service name up there? So if I do food and then do view report, it behaves pretty much the same here as it did. But I don't know, it may be that to allow multiple values, I don't know, we didn't like that. We could try. Or maybe the view multiple values might have worked in parameters. The drop-down list was what was messing it up. I didn't try them. So it's possible you could do view multiple values. You can deploy again, and it will replace the old version. I'm going to try just allow multiple values and not the other one. And let's see, first of all, if it'll preview. Yes. And it gave me a drop-down list, which is weird.
So you can just add it all. Type in and then put in, type in and put in.
Hold on.
I don't know if this will work. I am playing. You guys don't have to watch me play. Does anybody remember any of the other ones? School was one, I think, right? It might have been education, though. Transportation, medical, dental.
Education, emergency trouble, home repair.
So it's education.
transportation.
That's good enough for now. I'm just curious. So if I go here,
Oh, yeah. So you can select all too.
rent and food, view report. Ah,
Oh. Most of the fields are split.
yeah, so let's try it.
Oh, maybe you need one.
If I just do rent,
If you select all, it's not.
see, it does one, but it won't accept two.
No.
There might be a way, but at least we have, in the preview, at least we have a list. And you could have a list of all of them. We could just have not select all, I guess. I wonder, so here's another thing on the parameters. So what if we don't allow multiple select, but we leave the others? Is it going to work? See, now it doesn't have a checkbox, and you can just choose one and then view report. So that, yeah, then having to come up with it. Okay, so we learned lots of stuff. At least I did. You may not have. Okay, so, and I'm curious if I redeploy. Okay, so if I go back to here, let's go back.
You need to refresh or you don't have to refresh.
I don't know if it needs, we could do a quick refresh, I guess.
So you can select.
So it,
And do charts lists for procedures.
oh,
I
okay.
just, the palette was not wide enough for me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would think that it would just calculate it. So one of the things you could probably do is a report here. We could do that. And then it's lunchtime. I will give you some time to work on these, but we'll also look at next week if need be. If we were to do a chart here, probably what you would want to look at are the difference between requested and allocated and difference, which is 0 with childcare, but most of the others have some difference. So like food, there's $268 difference. All right. So everything deployed should be saved automatically, but if you want to save it all, you can. And I think that's good enough for today.
So I copied from this name, the service name.
There needs to be a space.
Ah.
There needs to be a space there and a space there.
Oh, okay.
All right, so.
Oh, so define query parameters so they can make it.
What?
So it shows define query parameters.
Right. So I'm going to close out this. I'm going to stop it from recording at this point.